Hi guys, welcome back to The Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to talk about two books. One full book and one novella. I think I'm going to get the novella and my rant out of the way. So the novella was a straight romance, sci-fi, monster, alien romance. Yeah. So this was her alien husband, Monster Bites, book 7 by Michele Mills. Now, I didn't read book 6 of the Monster Bites series just because, well, Mills seems to be doing like a trope a book, which totally get that, totally understand, right? And for me, I think book 6 was her alien stepbrother. So for me, step siblings romance gives me the ick. I'm not trying to yuck your yum, but just for me, right? And I'm not really interested. And also he was like a mobster, and I'm not really into mob romances. Maybe I'll give him a try somewhere down the line, but right now I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And I mean, I was like looking, I was like, if this had second chance romance, this would be like 3 of the worst ones 3 of the tropes I hate. So okay, so I decided to skip that because I've read so much of Michele Mills' work that I know I don't have to read every single one to get what the current story I want to read is about. You know what I'm saying? So with that caveat out of the way, this is a 1-star for me. And like, for some reason I checked on Goodreads for the reviews. I don't know why. I never do that. And there's so many 5 stars for this book, and I felt like I was taking crazy pills. I was like, okay. Also, you know, that just goes to show opinions are so subjective and taste in books are so subjective. You know what I mean? But for me, this is a 1-star. And like, that is to say, like, there is a book of hers that I still find banana crazy, right? Lives in my head rent free. And even that book was like a 2-star, right? The book I'm flashbacking to was in the Monster Love Curvy Girl series, where the alien mate, you know, the guy, was accused of treason, and he was hiding out in a secret panic room in the same house the woman his mate was in, and he watched her secretly for 6 months. And that book got 2 stars. So like, now this is a fake relationship trope in this book. And the thing is, I love enemies to lovers. I love grumpy to sunshine, and I freaking love fake relationship tropes. Why? I don't know. I'm just a basic bee, but I love those, right? So I'm generally pretty critical when those come up because I love them so much. And I'm just a critical bitch. So, oh, there goes not cussing in this video. Anyway, so we started off with Lucy, and we started off on New Earth. I was kind of excited to get a book of hers on New Earth because what I think this author does incredibly well is to do this grand, huge world or universe building very quickly. And I love it because you don't feel rushed with it. They do it seamlessly. Like, they're very talented. I think that's also why I gave this 1-star, because I'm like, Michele Mills, you could do better. Like, I've seen your work. Like, yes, this is like around 80 pages, but I've seen her deliver fantastic short form epic romances in a very few amount of pages. You know what I mean? So I was pretty disappointed. And that's just because I know you could do better. Yeah, I feel like a mom right now. I'm just disappointed because I know your potential. Like, as if they watch this channel, please. Anyway, so it starts off in New Earth, and I got really excited, right? Lucy, she's plus size and plain, and she is a cat gal, and on this New Earth, in this universe building, humans were taken as slaves. Some humans were taken from Earth, or old Earth, as slaves. And Earth we live on now, because it's sort of contemporary, right? So the Earth we live on now, we are like a secure species, and cue dog scratch out the carpet. So the humans taken as slaves can't interact with us, right? No alien can interact with us on our Earth, right? So on New Earth, they're slaves, and they fought the Helion race. for freedom, and for somehow cats got on this new earth, right? So cats are like the only domesticated pets, right? So cats are in big demand, and of course, with cat ownership comes feral cats, and things like that. So her grandfather's business was like a cat sanctuary for feral cats and a cat finder where like they adopt cats out to families, right? Because we love our furry animals. We do. We just do. I never trust a person who doesn't like a kite type of animal or lizard or something. You know what I mean? I just, anyway. I got so distracted. What am I talking about? Did you see like my brain just flatline? Did you see it? Okay. So that's her grandfather's business, and he passed away just a month ago, right? And part of her grandfather's will says she has to be happily married to inherit everything, which I was like, what the fuck misogynistic shit is this? Also, I get it. It's just further along the fake trope, but damn, I kind of expected something a little bit more clever, to be honest, by Mills. I just did. Mills is a clever author, you know what I mean? So I just expected something a little bit more. Anyway, she has a cousin, Sebastian, who we get introduced really quickly, who is a D-bag, right? Divorced 3 times, has kids from all 3 marriages. Now, that doesn't make him a D-bag. What makes him a D-bag is that, like, he doesn't pay child support, right? And he's gloating that he's going to get everything, right? So I thought he would come up later, right? I thought he was going to be the conflict. Because, spoiler alert, there's no conflict in this. Lucy goes home, and I like her personality, which kind of bummed me out that I didn't like this book, because I liked who she was. She was hot-tempered, she was very independent, and her characterization was done really well. She gets drunk, goes on a dating site, does this whole thing to find herself a husband, which I think was really lazy on Mills's part, puts in like a marriage certificate thing. So like someone signs it and they're human legally married, which I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Like, why did you cut a corner like that? Right? Now we go to Burl, who is like, we've seen them a lot in the Monster Loves Curvy Girl series. They're the aliens that we've seen all in that series. They kind of look like demons, red horns kind of demons, but very sweet. Also, side note, her Monster Bite series and our Monsters Love Curvy Girl series, I thought they were supposed to be 2 separate series, but they're kind of blending into one, and I'm not a fan, because in her Curvy Girl series, it's all with the sort of demonic looking alien race, which is fine. They're big cuddly teddy bears underneath all that, so I enjoy that. But her Monster Bite ones, we got a couple of different male species in there, like different alien species in there, here and there. And I really enjoyed that, because I really like how Mills kind of does their universe building and these different unique races. And I was kind of into that. So I'm kind of disappointed it's becoming one. I'm just going to say, I'm pretty disappointed about that. So Burl sees her on the site, decides she is his mate, which I don't understand, because it's established through like 12 books that the red aliens can smell their mate. Like, they can smell you and they know you're their mate, but like, it's not by sight. So I was like, that's weird, right? So he goes to New Earth. I was like, oh cool, is he gonna move to New Earth? That would be fun. No. I got really excited about exploring New Earth. We're not there for long. He shows up, hey, I signed the marriage certificate, now we're human married, haha, but it's okay, because I smell that you're my perfect mate, haha. And I was like, well, that's boring. I'm afraid that's what I thought the whole time I was reading this. Well, that's boring. She kind of fights him a little bit, like, whoa, that was a mistake, which I got. Again, I liked her personality, so that kind of sucks. She has 2 cats, and she's nursing a baby kitten that doesn't have a mom, and she's in charge of the cat sanctuary. So I thought it'd be a huge conflict, like, because he works at a ranch and he has to be there physically, yet she has to be there physically. No. She has a lot of volunteers that could take care of the cat rescue, where she focuses on the adoption process, and that could be done basically remotely, but she can easily commute to work because he lives just an hour away from the transporter. And I was like, Again, that's lazy. Come on, Mills. Come on. Do you hear me clap? I think it was off camera, but I did. Come on. Like I've read books that are about this length that had so much more into it. So much more conflict, so much more what's going to happen, suspense, things like that. And like what I love about the fake romance trope is the yearning that comes with it, right? The whole like, oh, I'm falling for this guy, but I shouldn't because it's just fake, or I'm falling for this girl, but it's all fake. I shouldn't. Like, I love that part. Okay. I love the yearning. Okay. Okay. And don't come at me like, oh, it's a novella. How much yearning can there be? I've read Michele Mills. She can do yearning. She can do it well too. So don't even get me there. Right. And a lot of her books, there's like insta-lust, but there's something that happens and they have to get to know each other before they hop into bed. That didn't really happen here. Like, it was a real big diverge from their normal writing. So I was like, that's weird, right? So I kind of felt like this was rushed. I'm not gonna lie. And then I expected Sebastian to come back and be a problem, be a conflict. He didn't come back to be a conflict. I was like, oh, maybe he'll come back and kidnap her so he could get like don't mind my hair frizzy, like it's a thunderstorm in the desert today because April Fools, guys. Woo! Anyway, so I thought Sebastian would come back to be a conflict, but he didn't. And I was like, oh shit, maybe I missed it because it's Kindle and sometimes you accidentally skip some pages. So I went back, read it again, nothing. There's no conflict. I thought he would kidnap Lucy or he would try to kill Burl, something. Like, I wanted him to be an actual villain, So there'd be conflict. Nothing. She goes to Travos, which is where Burl is from. She meets Micah, who was the main girl in Monster Loves Curvy Girls, the latest one. They get along great. They get married in Burl's culture. And then there's a little bit like, oh, the lawyer's coming. We have to prove that we're happily married. Oh no. And he's like, and we're in his prov through this. I think if we were in Lucy's POV, we might have gotten some like anxiety and yearning, but we're in Burl's, who's like, she's my mate, she's mine, everything's fine. And I was like, there was no conflict. There is absolutely no conflict. And I get it. It's a novella, but no, Mills is better than this. I was so disappointed. Mills, you disappointed me. Come on, get it together. Get it together. This book just felt rushed and like you weren't enjoying yourself. And usually Mills, you could tell they're having a good time while writing this. And then like literally so many 5 stars and I'm like, that's cool. This sucked for me though. Anyway, okay, that's enough of a rant. Spent too much time on that book. Okay. The second book was a 5 star. So it was like a 1 star and a 5 star. It was a weird reading week. Okay. So Southernmost Murder by C.S. Poe. This, I loved it. Okay. C.S. Poe we've seen before. The Winter and Snow series. The steampunk series I have to get back into. I really do love this book. The only criticism I would have is that they did write in a couple slang. And I'm like, man, there's no way faster to age your book than put in, yes, this is a gay contemporary mystery romance. But books last for a really long time. Like if you think about it, people are still reading Jane Austen books, still reading Agatha Christie books, still reading Shakespeare. Like, books can last a really long time. And what you don't want to do, a contemporary writer, tiny criticism, because I love your stuff. You don't want, because they put like, I forgot what it was, hashtag hotspot or something, they thought, like as a joke. And it worked in the context. It was funny. It's very much Aubrey's sense of humor. He's the main guy. Very funny. But also, I was like, man, that's not going to age well in like a couple of years because slang evolves so quickly now. And I'm like, oh, that's too bad. You really aged your book. But other than that, I loved it. So Aubrey, he is a historian. He also has narcolepsy and cataplexy. And he was he was talking to a guy named June. and June is a Fed, and like he's coming over to like maybe they're gonna turn into something serious and super exciting. But what I loved about it is like the first second, Aubrey finds a real life skeleton in his closet, and like I was freaked out, he was freaked out, everybody was freaked out, and I thought the work about him having narcolepsy and cataplexy was really well done. And I really loved it. Like, I don't have narcolepsy. I do have a a chronic illness, right? And, you know, there was one line I even highlighted. It's like, when there isn't a cure, all you can do is manage your symptoms, right? And that's very true. And I was like, damn, maybe CS Poe has someone in their life that has a chronic illness. Maybe they have a chronic illness, because it was well done. Again, I don't have narcolepsy, but someone who does have a chronic illness, that to manage it, your whole life has basically become a time management, you know, because I have to take one prescription at like a certain amount of time before eating, and then I have to take other prescriptions, but I can't take them on an empty stomach, so I have to time them for when I have breakfast, and then have to time my other medication when I have lunch, and I have to time my lunch. Doesn't matter if I'm super hungry at some point, I have to wait to that time to eat, to take that meds, and then so on and so off, right? And your life really comes like, oh, all right, you know, it's time for me to eat. Oh, I really need to get something in my stomach to take this pill. So I appreciated that was done in this book too, because to manage his narcolepsy, there's certain things he has to do, certain foods he has to avoid, things like that. And I thought that was really well done. Again, I don't have narcolepsy, but if someone does, you know, maybe give this book a try. Let me know if it's accurate or not, because I'll be fascinated to know that. So he's a historian, which I loved. And he doesn't want to get mixed up in this whole ancient murder thing, right? And he's a friend of Sebastian Snow, which we know from Snow and Winter, who loves getting involved in that stuff. So we get a little cameo from Sebastian, which I really enjoyed. Jun was just such a gentleman and like so sweet, and their romance is so cute. And like, this is the only book with them as characters, and I like, hey, CS Poe, if you're watching this, you're not, but if you are, please make them into a series, because I love them. Aubrey is sarcastic and like a little bit of a bitch, and I love it. He's also has tattoos and piercings, and his hair is like bleached blonde. I will say the cover art did them injustice, because I liked how Aubrey was like 38 years old and Jun is like around the same age. Like, they're not in their 20s, they're in their late 30s, almost middle-aged. And I liked that part of it, because it did show like, I don't know, it's just, I don't mind characters that are in their 20s, but it's kind of refreshing to read characters that are in their 30s, you know? And I liked that Aubrey still, you know, wore goofy t-shirts and jeans, that he didn't care about like wearing a suit and stuff like that. It just wasn't his aesthetic, you know what I mean? And I liked that Jun, even though he's like a FBI and he deals with like international cases with like the Triad and things like that, even though he's pretty straight-laced, he loves death metal. And I kind of love that, you know, that little bit of personalities that created a whole picture. And I think this author is really great at making full people in these stories. Like, they're full rounded people that are a little off. Like, you wouldn't think a very serious, quiet FBI guy would love death metal, or the certain kink he had in their adult sexy times. But he does, you know, and I love that. And I loved how Jun like automatically believed Aubrey, because I didn't know this, but apparently with narcolepsy you could get hallucinations, which is interesting. There's a moment where he had sleep paralysis, which is also, I thought, was well done. Creeped me out a little bit, but we all know I'm a baby bitch when it comes to scary stuff in books. But in like a fun way, you know, it was a fun moment. So the skeleton leads to a modern day murder, and I'm not going to say a lot of it because it's a mystery, and it was a wonderful mystery. And there's one part that like broke my heart, you know. the skeleton guy, in the 1800s, he disappeared, and it turns out like his male lover, which it was all hidden. Oh, it was just such a heartbreaking story, and I was like, oh, this is so sad, oh my gosh, you know. There's a lot of moving parts in this story, so I really hope it does become a series, because there's a side character, Bob, who's a complete a-hole that I want something bad to happen to. I'm just saying. You know, you guys know I'm bloodthirsty. There's a happy ending. There was some action, a gunfight, which was a lot of fun. I think well done too, because I had read some of these books and they're very good at action scenes. This writer is very good at action scenes, so I enjoyed that. Again, June is such, like, he's just perfect for Aubrey. You know what I mean? And they work really well off each other. And I love Aubrey. I love that he's an in-your-face, fuck you kind of a guy. I love his personality. So sarcastic, you know, and yet so tough, yet like he's not afraid to be like emotional and like a crying mess when something really upsets him. I just want more of him. Like, I want more of their story. If you please. If you write more about them, I'll totally buy the books and read them and devour them. So, okay, that's it for this week. So it was a low of 1 star and then a high of 5 stars. So there we go. I don't want too much time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.